me up because I can't pause my own screen. And all I did is I just created this whole feedback loop where I had to wait for my pausing to stop. So I apologize greatly for that. If you are still on the show, thank you for coming back. I was demoing all the awesome features of Hapara, and one of them that I demoed is how you can pause student screens. And I paused my own screen, which was dumb. And then was not allowed to unpause it because that's the way the program works. So you got a good idea that it works. You're not able to unpause the screen until the teacher allows you out of it. So that, is what it is. I apologize for that. I want to jump back in here and show you some more things. So where we were in highlights. Yeah, thank you so much, Adriana. I appreciate it. And I get that this is a good crowd for this because I know we all have different issues that happen while we're teaching. That is what it is. Okay, so what I was showing here, I'm just going to go back here to the full teacher dashboard, was the highlights tool. I paused the screen. It worked really well. It worked so well, I paused my own screen. So just word to the wise, don't do that to your own screen. That the only reason that happens is because I'm also signed in as a student. And what I was showing was how you can look at things like browser tabs. We're checking that out. And how you can also look at current screens. So for example, I have Ben over here, and I'm able to see what screen Ben is on. And I also showed the share links. So just a quick recap of that as well, especially if you're just joining. If I had a link like Flipgrid, for example, then what I could do is grab that, and then I would be able here to send this link out to everyone in the class. And then I can choose whether or not it's going to go to the class, whether it's going to go to a student, to groups, and then I could click share links. And that is going to share the link there with that student. Now, what I was about to show is how you can also do guided browsing. Guided browsing, different than just doing a pause screen. So guided browsing I showed very briefly in the beginning, really useful if you want to have students safe, just focused on a quiz or something like that. But you can also use it for other programs. So, we're on Flipgrid, for example, and let's say, I don't want right now students going over to other sites. I can individually guided browse. So where I'm basically giving them a focus session where I'm going to just have been on Flipgrid for a period of time. I can also do that for everybody. So if, we had some other sites open, let's say, we're also over here in Google Classroom and a few other places, but I want us to focus all on being in Flipgrid. What I'm going to do is go over here to guided browsing, and you can set up these templates here, which is what I used in the beginning of the show. You can also just pick your own or create your own. So what I'll do here is enter the link for Flipgrid, and I will set the amount of time that we're going to be on that specific program. So, I'm just going to put 5 here, but it could be, say, 15 minutes. And then I can choose who this focus session will be for. In this case, I'll just do it for the whole class. I'll click Start Session, and you'll see that I have a little timer countdown there telling me when that focus session is going to start. And then as the student is going to have a focus session. So you'll see that those other tabs are closed at the top. Pull that down just a little bit so you can see. And again, like I showed as well in the beginning of this show, if the student were to try to hop over somewhere else here, so for example, if they were to try to go back to Google Classroom, it's going to tell them that they're not able to, that right now they are in a focus session. So really powerful as well in terms of, you might need to do this for quizzes. You just may also need to do this just in terms of helping with making sure that students are in the right place. So just kind of put in the chat. I got the chat all back up and running now. So thank you, so much for your patience. I really appreciate it, and many apologies for me pausing my own screen there. Okay. It would be funny if it didn't crash my show. Okay. So we just looked at guided browsing, and now what I want to show you as well is the how a group will work. So one of the things, when I was showing those different guided browsing and sharing links, I showed how you could push those out to a student or just to a group of students. So let's say, for example, that now I have this, instead we're going to go to Nearpod, and I have my lesson set up in Nearpod, but I don't want all students to go to Nearpod. I just want my certain groups of students to go in Nearpod. So I'm going to release them from that session. And what I can do here is make sure that I have groups set up. So you can go here to groups, and you'll see that I already have 2 set up. You can set up groups by going to new group, and that's going to allow you to add students to that group and then create it. So you'll see here that I already have some groups set up. So I have 4 students in this group, and I can change the makeup very easily of that group by taking a student off, for example, and then adding one in. So very easy to change around the makeup of the groups. And then let's say that and I see Finn is on Fortnite right now. Okay, we'll talk about that in just a moment. Thank you, Finn. So let's say that I only want a group to go to Nearpod. I don't just want the whole class to go. This time, when I go to share links, I can share that link, but I'm only going to share it with a group. So I have my group 1 that I'm going to share it to. I'll share those links. And this time it's only going to go to the students who are actually in group 1. So you'll notice it did not go to the other students who are in the other groups, but it did go to Ben here, who's in the first group. We can see that Nearpod showed up on his computer. So super, super powerful way to differentiate instruction in lots of different ways, right? Where you can push out different links, you can push out different documents, things like that. And one of the things that's happening right now, I'm just in class, we're kind of running class. I'm noticing what's happening. So, I see Poe over here, looks like he did a Google search. He's looking for a narrative essay. If I actually wanted to just see, like, what is he looking at, right? What did he just look up? I can check that out. Looks okay. So, I could drop that student a message. I could say, great job trying to find resources on your own. And if I, of course, wanted to have that student go somewhere else or not be on that page, then I could, give that student a message like I showed before, asking that student not to be on that page. So just, again, really helps me manage workflow, see what's going on in my class. I can toggle back to the activity viewer to see what unique activity is happening in my class. Check out like, we were all supposed to do that assignment in Flipgrid, but I can see these students, they still have not gone there yet, right? So it just allows me to have this bird's eye view of vision of everything that's happening. And I absolutely love it for that. And so when I was talking about just how it allowed me, I saw for the first time how it would allow me to run a class in the same way, using the same types of strategies and tools that I would use without any technology in my class. But before I started teaching with technology, this is the kind of tool that allows me to have that level of vision so that I feel really comfortable about using a lot of technology with my students. And I know that I can do so in an effective way as well, right? I can just very easily see where students are at in different pieces of work, give them feedback, all kinds of things like that. So again, super powerful program. You can also set up, I'm not going to have time to talk about this in great detail, but you can also set up workspaces in Hapara. So what a workspace will allow you to do is basically set up a fully customized space where you can share out resources and assignments and build this out in any way that you want it. You can set up groups of students here where you can drag and drop classes in, and it allows you to assign assignments to students in here as well. So the workspace is also just adds a layer and a level of functionality to G Suite apps. I love G Suite products, but certainly if you've ever watched my videos about why you should make a class website and some of the limitations of Google Classroom, it doesn't allow you to organize things well in a way that is cohesive, in a way that makes sense for students and teachers. And so Hapara adds that layer of organization for you and lets you build out a custom workspace that is really necessary if you're going to have a fully tech integrated classroom. Okay, so I want to show you here as well what the student dashboard looks like. I'm just going to pull this up for a second here. So we saw, right, that we had pushed these out to students. Now I didn't focus these students, so they're still able to go to other places. But the students can also go to their own Hapara dashboard. And on their dashboard, they're going to be able to see in a single location work that's been assigned to them. They can see announcements that have been posted. They can see all that in a single location, as opposed to needing to click around in all their different Google Classrooms, right? So although I don't have this student enrolled in lots of different classes, this student would be able to see like, oh, I have all these assignments from this class in one place. They can switch this over and they can check out emails, right? So they can see what are the emails that I got from my teacher, and it filters out those announcement emails about, there was an assignment posted. These are just emails sent from the teacher, so they can see emails that they need to get in and respond to. So they don't have to go to Gmail, right? They don't have to click on 6 different Google Classrooms. It's all here in a single place. They can see when things are due. They can see if they have overdue assignments. So it's just so much more usable on the student end than just trying to log into your Gmail, log into your Google Classroom on your own, which we know is incredibly difficult for students to manage. And the younger students are, the harder it is for them to manage that. So just to have it all consolidated in one place is incredibly powerful for students as well. All right, so a couple of comments. Yeah, so Beth, yeah, there are thousands of workspaces that teachers have already created or have already been created that you can copy and paste and use. So you could build your own custom workspace, or you can just bring one in. So that's another it's another great feature, that you just have open access to all these pre-made sort of templates of workspaces. Okay, so great question, Alice. Yeah, this is, what if a student is done with the test, wants to get out, but the rest of the class is still working? So yeah, what Alice is referring to here is the focus session. So let's say that you have a focus session set up. Let me get my screen adjusted here a little bit. And you know that a student is done, right? And you want to just say, allow that student to move on. You can do that. So what I'm going to just do a quick focus here. I'm not going to pause my screen. I'm just going to do a focus session for Ben. And so I'll have Ben in here. We'll pretend that he's got a quiz, and I'm just going to focus him. So we'll say that we want him back here in Nearpod for the focus session, and then we'll have him start the session there. Now, let's say that this is everybody, right? They're all in Flipgrid, or I'm sorry, all in Nearpod for that focus session. It's going to, in a second, right, you'll see that he can no longer get out of Nearpod, and it's going to also reflect that he's in that focus session because it'll pop up that little, looks like a target right there. So let's say they're all in like that, and I just want to release this one student, I could do that. So you can just click release student, and if that student finished early, they're ready to move on, then they can get out and they're good to go. So you can select, you have full control to be able to select which students would be in or out of a focus session. So yes, Lundy, definitely. And yes, I appreciate this. So yes, Lindy, the pause screen does really work, and that was demonstrated into full effect today. All right, so I'm going to keep going through the questions, see if there's anything else that comes up. So again, just want to emphasize some of the key features that I showed today. Showed the ability to have full visibility in Hapara of everything that students are working on, right? So you're in the dashboard, you've assigned assignments through Google Classroom. I get to see how much time did have students spent on that assignment. I can see whether a student has even opened the assignment. I can jump into the assignment, give that student quick feedback, right? I'm able to hop into Gmail. I can see, did a student respond to an email that I sent, or did they even open it, right? I can see whether or not a student sent an email out of their Gmail account and be able to read it there as well. So even as a teacher, it helps me with my workflow. We looked a lot at highlights. So highlights allows me to get a bird's eye view of class activity for the whole class that I can check out in specific detail to know who's kind of on track, who I need to go in and check with to give them a push to get to where they need to go, private message, contact families, whatever it is that I need to do. I also can see over here like, okay, there's some, mostly good activity, but maybe this one that I want to check out, like what is this exactly that's going on, right? I'm not sure. Oh, that's a, video game. So I'm going to need to check in with Finn, right? So when I'm back on, my browser tabs, I'm going to see still there. So I'm going to send him a quick message and just make sure that he knows, hey, Finn, please stay on task. So I can do things that I can't do in, say, Google Meet, where I can just individually message a student, right? And of course, if he chooses not to, and I have given him some reminders, I can also close that out, and I can give Finn a message letting him know that it's not related to the task that we're doing. You can do things like pause screens. Don't ever do that if you're trying to do it on your own computer with the student tab open, because you will pause your own screen like we learned. But I love pause screens. I use it all the time for just, hey, get everybody's attention back when I have kids glued on a project, doing some work that they're really engrossed in. It can be hard to get them back. So I love pause screens for that reason. And I showed how you can share links to students' computers so that they pop up on their computer. You can choose to do so with guided browsing so that they're fixed on a particular page, really useful for an assessment. Can be useful as well if you just want to focus attention on a particular page. So there's lots of reasons that you would want to potentially use guided browsing. And then we looked at workspaces as well that you can set up. Like some people in the chat mentioned, there are lots of workspaces that have already been pre-created that you can essentially copy over and use as a template. So really powerful for setting up kind of custom virtual classrooms for students where you have assignments and resources and all the information that students would need. That's all in a single place. And then we also, of course, looked at a student page so that you can see what that looks like as well. So that they have all their work consolidated in a single place, don't have to be jumping around to different places. So, I think I just want to end by emphasizing how much I think Hapara solves and addresses so many issues that I've heard teachers raise, right? Visibility, and that applies to whether or not you are in the classroom physically with students, whether you're fully virtual, hybrid. We need to know whether or not students understand where to be, what to be doing. We need to be able to see their work, to be able to give them feedback on it. That's a huge barrier to virtual learning, or just having students on a computer that's not turned toward you and it's harder to be able to kind of see. So just that visibility, the ability to give quick formative feedback, and really truly implement a technology integrated classroom. So I think a tool like Hapara is really indispensable, essential for any school. Of course, if you're a G Suite for Education school, then I think to have a solution to be able to manage the workflow on a higher level like this is invaluable, and absolutely something that you should pilot, check out. If you want more information, you can check out, I'm going to drop in the chat again, the link to Hapara. It's Hapara at samkary.com, or hapara.com/samkary. Sorry, I had to shut everything down, so I don't have the link right now, but here it is again. So this is going to give you some information that you can check out, that you can use if you want to talk to your school admin. I talked a little bit in the other half of the show that was up before, how I did the same exact thing. I noticed that there were a lot of gaps and a lot of needs. So I came to my administration. I told them I wanted to pilot this, and we ended up getting it. So definitely something that's in your control. Okay, so I have some questions still coming through. I'm going to keep answering them, and I know some of them are about other things. So, for example, this one is just about how I put myself in front of my screen. So, yeah, I am actually going to be having a live show in a couple of weeks about how I live stream. So I'll be showing that. I use Restream to stream to all my different platforms. Love Restream. I use Ecamm as well, which I also really love. Allows me to do things like I'm doing right now with the green screening and set up different scenes and things like that, so I can toggle back and forth. I will be showing about how I do that in a live show that's coming up. So thanks for the question. Okay, so thank you so much, everybody, for sticking with me. Thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it. And thank you again to Hapara for sponsoring this show. I really appreciate Hapara hopefully communicated how awesome of a platform I think it is. And again, check out the link if you would like additional information about it and you want to share it with your school leaders to show them why you think it's so amazing. So appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Next week, I am going to be taking a deep dive into how to run a successful EdTech pilot at your school. So it's directly connected with today's show. There are lots of programs out there and platforms that you need to have access to on the school-wide level, or programs that cost money that, not everything is free. And that's because a lot of awesome stuff out there, costs money to run and to make. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. So I'm going to be talking about how you would make some intelligent decisions about how, which programs you might want to demo, how to run a successful pilot so that you can make an educated decision as a school about programs that you're going to purchase. So thank you so much, everybody. And I hope to see you next week.